Hi, hello, this is Giri teaching 9th Mathematics, the chapter Real Numbers. Here is the alternate academic calendar 3rd week. And this is the syllabus framed by the SCRT for 9th class Mathematics. And this syllabus is given for 4 weeks. And we already covered 1st week and 2nd week. Now we are in the 3rd week. Now this is the syllabus for the 3rd week. One suggested activity. Teachers may send one context to the students where irrational numbers are used. Students may be encouraged to provide more such contexts. Second point, a discussion about the properties of rational and irrational numbers may be held. And third point, exercises from the textbook and the exemplar problems book of 9th class available on the SCRT website can be done. Teachers can ask students to do activities and the concepts discussed using the laboratory manual. And these need to be sent online and their logic explained. This is the syllabus suggested for the 3rd week. If you observe the syllabus, we have to learn the different situations either in mathematics or in our daily life where we use irrational numbers. And next, we have to do some exercise problems from our textbook, and we have to learn some properties on rational and irrational numbers also. Now in this video, now you can find the usage of irrational numbers in mathematics. The usage of irrational numbers in mathematics. The first point is, in any square, the diagonal is root 2 times of its side. Now square is a two-dimensional diagram, you know that. A closed geometric figure formed by 4 sides where all 4 sides are equal and each angle is equal to 90 degrees is called square. Now in this square, the length of the diagonal is root 2 times of its side. You see, this is the diagram of the square. In this diagram, all these 4 sides are equal and each angle of the square is equal to 90 degrees. Understood? Now the diagonal of this square, this is the diagonal. Diagonal of the square is equal to root 2 times of its side. Example, length of the diagonal of a square of side 3 centimeters is 3 root 2 centimeters. You see, we know that the diagonal of this square is root 2 times of its side. Means root 2 times means root 2 into. Root 2 parts means you have to divide. More means you have to add and less means you have to subtract. Here root 2 times means you have to multiply the length of the side with root 2 so that you will get the length of the diagonal. You see, length of the diagonal of a square of side 3 centimeters means the length of the side of the square is 3 centimeters given. Then the length of the diagonal is 3 root 2 centimeters. Here root 2 is an irrational number. Rational number is 3 and irrational number is root 2. And if you multiply a rational number with irrational number, you will get an irrational number. Now look at this. Ratio between circumference and diameter of a circle. The ratio between circumference of the circle to its diameter is an irrational number. It is a constant which is an irrational number which is given by pi. And the value of the pi is almost equal to 3.1415926535, 89793238 and so on. We wrote up to 18 decimal places. You see, it is a non-terminating decimal, and at the same time nothing of decimal part is repeating. Therefore it is non-terminating and non-recurring decimal number, which is an irrational number. Generally we represent the value of pi as 22/7, but it is not exactly equal to 22/7. It is almost equal to, or it is very near to 22/7. Therefore the actual value of the pi is 3.1415 92653589793238 and so on. This is a non-terminating and non-recurring decimal, therefore it is an irrational number. Here, in finding the ratio between circumference of the circle and the diameter, again we got an irrational number, isn't it? Good. Which is a non-terminating and non-recurring decimal number. You see, this is the circle. And if you find this length of this arc around the circle, it is nothing but the circumference. Now the ratio between the circumference and to this diameter, this is the diameter. Circumference and diameter, if you find the ratio, it is a constant. That constant value is this, which is represented by pi. Now another point. In an equilateral triangle, altitude is root 3 by 2 times of its side. In an equilateral triangle, altitude is root 3 by 2 times of its side. Do you know what is an equilateral triangle? Good. First of all, what is a triangle? A triangle is a closed figure bounded by 3 sides. Very good. And now equilateral triangle means all the 3 sides are equal. In any triangle, if all the 3 sides are equal, then this is called an equilateral triangle. Now in this equilateral triangle, this altitude, the height of the equilateral triangle is root 3 by 2 times of its side. For example, height of an equilateral triangle of side 4 centimeters is, I have to find the height of an equilateral triangle whose side is 4 centimeters. We know that the height of this equilateral triangle is root 3 by 2 times of its side. Therefore, root 3 by 2 times means into, the side is 4 centimeters, into 4. Now this 2 in 4 2 times, then 2 into root 3 is 2 root 3 centimeters. It is the altitude of this equilateral triangle. Again, root 3 is an irrational number. 2 into root 3 is also an irrational number. Means, in the first case, we found the diagonal of the square by means of an irrational number. And in the second case, we found the ratio between circumference and diameter of a circle, and we got a constant which is an irrational number. And in the third case, in an equilateral triangle, we found the height of an equilateral triangle, again we got an irrational number. These are the 3 instances where we can find irrational numbers in simple maths. And now, in the other branches of mathematics, that is in algebra and in trigonometry, calculus, in arithmetic, mensuration, coordinate geometry, and in geometry also, we use the knowledge of irrational numbers. Now you see this. Learn some more important points from this chapter. The first point is, if n is a natural number other than a perfect square, then root n is an irrational number. If n is a natural number other than a perfect square, then root n is an irrational number. We know that 1 is a perfect square number as 1 square is equal to 1. And 4 is a perfect square number because 2 square is equal to 4. And 3 square is 9, 4 square is 16, 5 square is 25, 6 square is 36, and so on. Therefore, this 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36 and all these numbers are called perfect square numbers. Now if you find the square root of 1, you will get 1. If you find the square root of 4, you will get 2. If you find the square root of 9, you will get 3. Similarly, what is the square root of 16? Good, 4. What is the square root of 25? 5. What is the square root of 36? 6. It means, if you find the square root of any perfect square, you get a rational number. If you find the square root of 1, you will get 1. It is a rational number. If you find the square root of 4, you will get 2, a rational number. It seems, if you find the square root of any perfect square number, you will get a rational number. But whereas if you find the square root of 2, square root of 3, square root of 5, and all these numbers are not perfect squares, If you find the square root of these values by division method or some other method, you will get square root of 2 is 1.414 and so on. It is not ending by 4. And square root of 3, if you find the square root of 3, you will get 1.732 and so on. It is not ending with 2. Means all these square root values of non-perfect square numbers, you will get a non-terminating, non-recurring decimals. We know that non-terminating and non-recurring decimals are called irrational numbers. Therefore, root 2 is an irrational number, root 3 is an irrational number, root 5, root 6, root 7, root 8, all these are irrational numbers. But whereas root 1, root 4, root 9 means these are the square roots of the perfect squares, and those numbers are rational numbers. That is the point. Understood? Okay. Now, if I ask root 81, how can you say that whether it is a rational number or it is an irrational number? What can you say? Good. Root 81, you can write root 81 is equal to 9, a rational number. Since 81 is a perfect square, square root of 81 is a rational number. Then what about root 90? Root 90 is an irrational number because 90 is not a perfect square number. What about square root of 100? Good, square root of 100 is 10, a rational number. 100 is a perfect square number, therefore root 100 is a rational number. Good. Now look at the second point. If q is a rational number and s is an irrational number, then q plus s, q minus s, q into s and q divided by s are irrational. Here we have given a rational number and an irrational number. We have given two numbers. One is rational and the second is irrational. If we add them, means q plus s, or if you subtract one from the other, q minus s, or if you multiply them, q into s, or if you divide them, q divided by s. In all these four cases, you will get irrational number only. You see, if you have given a rational number and an irrational number, if you add them or if you multiply them or if you subtract them or if you divide one number with the other, you will get an irrational number. For example, 1 plus 2. 1 is a rational number, root 2 is an irrational number. If you add them, you will get an irrational number. 2 minus root 3, rational minus irrational is irrational. 3 into root 5 means it is 3 is a rational number and root 5 is an irrational number. If you multiply, the product is an irrational number. And 2 divided by root 3, 2 is a rational number, root 3 is an irrational number. If you divide, the quotient is an irrational number. Means if I have given a rational number and an irrational number, whatever their order, whether you add them, whether you add the rational number to irrational number or irrational number to rational number, you will get the same irrational number finally. 1 plus root is nothing but root 2 plus 1. If 1 plus root 2 is irrational, root 2 plus 1 is also irrational. Similarly, 2 minus root 3 is irrational, root 3 minus 2 is also irrational. 3 into root 5 is irrational and root 5 into 3 is also irrational. 2 divided by root 3 is irrational and root 3 divided by 2 is also irrational number. Is it clear? Good. Now look at third point. If a and b are any two positive real numbers, a and b are any two positive real numbers. We know that real numbers means the set of both rational numbers and irrational numbers together is called real numbers. Means if a number is either rational or irrational, it is called as real number. Here a and b are any two positive real numbers. You should consider positive real numbers. Then there are some properties to learn. The first is root over a into b. Root over a into b is root a into root b. And second point, root over a divided by b is equal to root a divided by root b, provided b not equal to 0 is the condition. What will happen if b is equal to 0? Look at the property. This b, where can you find b? B is in denominator place. Since b is in denominator place, if you equate it to 0, in any fraction if the denominator is 0, can you find the value of the fraction? Good. In any fraction, if the denominator is 0, then the value of the fraction is undefined. Therefore, the condition here should be not equal to 0. And third property, root a plus root b into root a minus root b is equal to a minus b. You observe this, root a plus root b into root a minus root b. This is in the form of a plus b into a minus b. We know that a plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. That is root over a whole square minus root b whole square. Root a whole square means square root and square will be cancelled. You will get a minus root b whole square means square root and square will be cancelled. You will get b. Understood? Now fourth point. A plus root b into a minus root b is equal to a square minus b. A plus root b into a minus root b. This is again the same model, a plus b into a minus b, which is a square minus b square. A is a only, therefore it is a square, minus b means root b. Root b whole square is b. And fifth point, root a plus root b whole square is equal to a plus to root ab plus b. Here this is in the form of a plus b whole square. A plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square. Here a means root a. A square means root a whole square is a plus 2ab. 2 into root a into root b is 2 root ab plus b square means root b whole square is b. All these are the 5 properties that we have to learn in order to solve the problems from this chapter. Here I shall repeat, if a and b are any two positive real numbers, then root over ab is equal to root a into root b. For example, if I have given root 6, you can write root 6 as 2 into 3. 6 as 2 into 3. Therefore, root over 6 means root over 2 into 3, which is equal to root 2 into root 3. Understood? Similarly, root over 3 by 2 is equal to root 3 divided by root 2. Understood? Similarly, here in this case, root 3 plus root 2 into root 3 minus root 2 is 3 minus 2. You can use all these properties in order to solve problems from this chapter. Now, the next point. If n is an integer greater than 1 and a is a positive rational number, then nth root a is called as surd. Here n is an integer greater than 1. What are the integers greater than 1? Actually, what are integers? Integers may start from minus infinity, minus 2, minus 1, minus 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on up to plus infinity. But whereas here the integer is greater than 1, you should consider an integer greater than 1 means you should start from 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Integer greater than 1 is nothing but the whole numbers greater than 1 is also equal to the natural numbers greater than 1. What are the natural numbers greater than 1? 2, 3, 4, 5 and so on. Here n is an integer greater than 1 and the value of a is a positive rational number. Rational numbers means, do you know what is a rational number? Good. A number in the form of p by q is a rational number. Means, if n is an integer greater than 1 and a is a positive rational number, then nth root a is called as surd. Nth root a. Here this n, you should read this as nth root a. You should not write n before the square root. You should write n inside the square root. If you write n inside the square root, then you should read this as nth root a. If we write n before square root, then we should read it as n root a. N into root a or n root a. But if you write n like this, then you should read this as nth root a. Here n value, this n value is greater than 1, means 2, 3, 4, etc. And this a value which is inside the root value, which is 1, 2, 3, which is inside the root should be a rational number. Then nth root a is called as surd. The simple example for surd is square root 2, square root 3 or cube root of 5. All these are surds and we will learn about surds more in this coming chapter. Now another point, there is a unique real number that represents a point on number line. There is a unique real number that represents a point on number line. You see, we know that number line is nothing but a straight line. Now straight line means it extends up to infinity on both sides. Now can you count how many points will be there in a straight line? It is uncountable. We cannot count the number of points on a straight line. There are infinite points actually. Actually the definition of a straight line is the set of infinite points is called as straight line. Now on straight line, as we know that there are infinite points, every point represents only one real number, unique. Here you see there is a unique real number. Unique means only one, single. There is a unique real number that represents a point on a number line. If we consider a point, that point may be represented by only one real number. If we take another point, you will get another real number. Real number means it may be either rational number or it may be an irrational number. Therefore, it is clear that every point on the number line represents a rational number, either a rational number or an irrational number. Means, in other words, every rational number can be represented on the number line and every irrational number can also be represented on the number line. You observe this straight line. It is a straight line. For convenience, I took it as a dotted line. It is a straight line. Now on this straight line you can find so many points. Again, in between any 2 points in a straight line there are infinite points. Now you see there are infinite points on the straight line and I may consider some points. For example, I took some points and every point, this point represents one real number, it may be another real number and it is another real number, it is another real number. If we take any point, that point represents only one real number. It is another real number, it is another number, it is another real number, it is another real number, like this. Every point on this number line represents only one real number. You see, this point may be minus 7 by 5, it is a rational number. This point is minus root 5, it is an irrational number. And this point may be 1.821 and so on, it is an irrational number. It may be 0, rational number. It is 1, rational number. This is root 2, irrational number. This is pi, an irrational number. This may be 8 by 3, it is a rational number. And this point is 3.333 and so on, it is also a rational number. It is non-terminating and recurring, therefore it is a rational number. You see, every rational number may be represented on the number line and every irrational number can also be represented on the number line. Understood? Is it clear? Very good. Now, another question. How to represent an irrational number on a number line? Irrational numbers. The simple example for an irrational number is root 2. We know that. Now let us represent plus root 2 and minus root 2, plus root 5 and minus root 5 number line. You come across this type of questions in your 9th class, isn't it? Okay, good. Now let us represent root 2 minus root 2 plus root 5 and minus root 5 number line. Again, as usual, let us consider a straight line and let us name this as number line. And on this number line, let us keep points at equal distances. Understood? Now, the middle point is 0. You consider the middle point as 0. On the right hand side to 0, you keep 1, 2, 3 and so on. And on the left hand side to 0, you keep minus 1, minus 2, minus 3 and so on. Understood? We located the positive values and we located the negative values also on the number line. Later we have to find where this plus root 2 lies on this number line and we have to find where this minus root 2 lies on the number line. In order to get it, you may draw a perpendicular lines at plus 1 and minus 1. Understood? You draw a perpendicular line at plus 1 and also as well as at minus 1. We may recollect Pythagoras theorem once. Pythagoras theorem. What this Pythagoras theorem states? In a right triangle, hypotenuse square is equal to side square plus side square. Understood? Pythagoras theorem. In a right triangle, hypotenuse square is equal to side square plus side square. Only hypotenuse is equal to root over side square plus side square. Let us use this knowledge to get root 2. If we join this point 0 to this end, then it become a right triangle. In this right triangle, this side is equal to 1 unit as the distance from 0 to 1 is 1. And also we draw this line segment with 1 unit only. This is 1 unit and this is 1 unit. Then in this right triangle, this is right angle. This is the side 1 unit and this side length is also 1 unit. Then what is hypotenuse? Hypotenuse is equal to root of side square plus side square. That is root over 1 square plus 1 square. 1 square is 1 plus 1 square is 1. 1 plus 1 is root 2. Therefore, the length of this hypotenuse is root 2 units. Similarly, the length of this hypotenuse is also root 2 units. Understood? Now, what to do is, let us keep the point of the circular at 0. Let us keep the point of the circular at 0 and stretch the circular up to this point and draw an arc like this. Understood? Keep the point of the circular at 0 and stretch the circular up to this point and draw an arc like this. Like this. You draw an arc like this. This arc may cut the number line at a particular point. Similarly, on this side also, you keep the point of the circular at 0 and stretch the circular up to this point and draw an arc like this. This arc may cut the number line on the negative side also. Now we know that this length is equal to root 2 units and this length is also root 2 units. Therefore, the distance between 0 to this point of intersection is root 2 units plus root 2 units, and the distance between 0 to this point of intersection on the negative side of the number line is minus root 2 units. And later we will draw Later we will sketch to find root 5 and minus root 5. Root 5 is nothing but 4 plus 1, isn't it? 5 is equal to 4 plus 1. 4 means 2 square. 2 square plus 1 is 5. Therefore, on one side of the right triangle, we take it as 2 units. From 2, you draw a perpendicular line whose length is equal to 1 unit. And on the other side also, from minus 2, draw a line segment of length 1 unit. Now, as we did in the previous case, you join this point 0 to this end. Similarly, you join this point 0 to the other end. Now, this is the right triangle. This is another right triangle. In this right triangle, this side is equal to 2 units. From 0 to 2, this distance is 2 units. Therefore, side of this right triangle is 2 units. And the side of this right triangle is 1 unit. Then the hypotenuse is square root of side square plus side square. 2 square is 4 plus 1 square is 1. Therefore, it is root 5 units. Understood? The length of this hypotenuse is root 5 units. Now, take the circular and keep the point of the circular at 0 and stretch the circular up to this point and draw an arc like this. Draw an arc passing through this point like this, so that it may meet the number line at a particular point. On the other side also, you keep the point of the circular at 0 and draw an arc which passes through to this point, may cut the negative side of the number line at a particular point, and this is minus root 5. Clear? Is it clear now? This is plus root 2 and this is minus, this value is minus root 2. Later, this is plus root 5. This point is plus root 5 and on the other side, this point is minus root 5. Plus root 2 and minus root 2. Plus root 5 and minus root 5, so that we located the given irrational numbers like root 2 minus root 2 plus root 5 and minus root 5 on the number line, using using Pythagoras theorem. After this, you may solve some workload problems on irrational numbers. The first question is simplify root 11 plus root 7 into root 11 minus root 7, and the second bit root 3 plus root 7 whole square. Let us solve the first bit now. Root 11 plus root 7 into root 11 minus root 7. This is in the form of a plus b into a minus b. We know that a plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. Here a value is root 11 and b value is root 7. A square minus b square. A square minus b square means root 11 whole square minus root 7 whole square. Square root and square will be get cancelled and you will get 11 minus root 7 whole square is 7. What is 11 minus 7? 11 minus 7 is 4. Now what did you observe from this? Here this is root 11 is an irrational number and root 7 is an irrational number. The sum of two irrational numbers is always irrational number. And in the second bracket, again this is an irrational number, it is an irrational number. The difference between any two irrational numbers is again an irrational number. But this is the product of an irrational number with an irrational number, we got a rational number, isn't it? The product of irrational number and an irrational number, here we got a rational number. But it is not true in all the cases. It means the product of two irrational numbers may be sometimes rational number and maybe in some other cases it is irrational number. But in this case we got a rational number. Okay. Now second bit. Root 3 plus root 7 whole square. Root 3 plus root 7 whole square. This is in the form of a plus b whole square. Here a value is root 3 and b value is root 7. A plus b whole square means root 3 plus root 7 whole square. Now the formula to find a plus b whole square is a square plus 2ab plus b square. Now in this formula let us substitute a is equal to root 3 and b is equal to root 7 in this expansion. A square means root 3 whole square plus 2ab, 2 into root 3 into root 7 plus b square means root 7 whole square. Square root 3 whole square, square root and square will be cancelled, you will get 3 plus 2 into root 3 into root 7 is whole root of 3 sevens 21, that is 2 root 21 plus root 7 whole square is 7. Now let us add these two rational numbers. 3 plus 7 is 10 plus 2 root 21. Understood? 10 plus 2 root 21. Now let us solve another question. Which of the following are rational numbers and which are irrational numbers? Which of the following are rational numbers and which of the following are irrational numbers? The first bit 5 minus root 3, second bit root 3 plus root 2, third bit 2 root 7 divided by 3 root 7, fourth bit 2 pi, fifth bit 2 plus root 2 into 2 minus root 2. Now let us see the first bit now. 5 minus root 3. We have to check whether 5 minus root 3 is a rational number or it is an irrational number. We already know that the difference between any two rational number and an irrational number is always an irrational number. The sum of a rational number and an irrational number, or the difference between rational number and an irrational number, or the product of rational and irrational, or the quotient of rational with an irrational is always an irrational number. 5 minus root 3. A rational number minus an irrational number is always an irrational number. And second bit, root 3 plus root 2. Root 3 is one irrational and root 2 is another irrational. If we add two irrational numbers, we will get again an irrational number. How? We can justify this with a simple understanding. Root 3 is an irrational number, means it is non-terminating and non-recurring decimal. And root 2 is also non-terminating, non-recurring. If we add them, again you will get a non-terminating and non-recurring decimal only, so that it is an irrational number, you can say. Similarly, you can apply the same method to prove that 5 minus root 3 is also an irrational number orally. But of course, these proofs may be done in 10th class. Whenever you come to 10th class, you can prove 5 minus root 3 is an irrational number, and you can prove root 3 plus root 2 is an irrational number. You can take that root 3 is non-terminating non-recurring and root 2 is also non-terminating non-recurring. If we add two non-terminating and non-recurring decimals, we will get again the same type of decimal number, therefore it is an irrational number. And look at the third bit. 2 root 7 divided by 3 root 7. In division, you can cancel this root 7 and root 7. While doing division, in numerator 2 root 7 means 2 into root 7. And in denominator, you can find 3 root 7 means 3 into root 7. This root 7 and this root 7 will be cancelled, and you may get finally 2 by root 3. 2 by root 3 is in the form of p by q. Therefore, it is a rational number. Understood? This is a rational number. You observe an irrational number divided by an irrational number. Here in this case, we got a rational number. And sometimes it may be irrational also. And fourth bit, 2 pi. We come across that pi is an irrational number just in the beginning of this class. We know that pi is a non-terminating, non-recurring number, therefore it is an irrational number. Therefore 2 times of an irrational number is always an irrational number. Therefore 2 pi is an irrational number. Now fifth bit, 2 plus root 2 into 2 minus root 2. This is in the form of a plus b into a minus b, which is equal to a square minus b square. 2 square is 4, root 2 whole square is 2, and 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 is a rational number. It is a rational number. Understood? Now you solve some problems on rational numbers and irrational numbers, and in the next video you may solve the exercise problems from the first chapter, real numbers. Okay, thank you one and all.